In September of 2018, I paid off my last student loan, and a couple months later I made the official announcement of my financial freedom by doing a debt-free dance video, which I uploaded to my music channel on YouTube. Now I'd like to share more about how I paid off that debt. Hey everyone, welcome to the channel. My name is Catherine, and today's video discusses some factors that led to me being able to pay off $25,000 in student loan debt in 3.5 years. A quick disclaimer before we get started. I'm going to be sharing some things that were helpful to me in becoming debt-free. This is not official advice, and I'm not saying this is how everyone should pay off debt, especially because some of the things I did were unhealthy. However, I'm telling you these things in hopes you may find some sort of value in them, and if not, you can just go watch a different video. Another quick note is that the overarching perspective that I had while paying off debt was inspired by the Dave Ramsey method. You can find out more information about his baby steps on paying off debt on daveramsey.com and/or by reading his book, The Total Money Makeover. I did not follow his advice to the T, but I took some of his principles and made them my own to meet my own needs. So let's get started. Number 1, make friends with cockroaches. Literally. May of 2015, I graduated college, and I was lucky in that I landed a job right away working in retail. The job was part-time, and wages usually ranged between $800 to $1,200 per month, depending on my hours. I moved into an apartment that at the time cost $715 a month to rent. How did I find a place that was so inexpensive? It was in an unsafe part of town, and it was infested with cockroaches. I did not know there were cockroaches there when I first moved in. In fact, the first few weeks seemed fine. And then I started seeing these little buggers in my bathroom, on my microwave, in my freezer door. Sometimes one of them would get flipped upside down and get stuck, and I would just stare at it like I'm going to watch you die a slow and painful death. And yes, there was a maintenance service that sprayed every week, but the roaches would just appear again a few hours later. Eventually, I stopped calling pest control because it wasn't doing anything. Anyway, I split the cost of rent with a roommate and stuck to the 4 basic food groups to save money: beans, rice, Arby's, and Burger King. Actually, because I was working part-time and had strange hours sometimes, there were times when I was able to sleep during the day and actually skip meals. And if I could sleep through a mealtime, that was all the less money I had to spend on food. Healthy? No, but it happened. I did realize quickly that $1,000 a month was not enough to pay the bills and save and live well. So I got secondary jobs when I could. Around Christmas time, I went back to my university and worked at the campus bookstore during Christmas season. In spring of 2016, I got a temporary job as a marketing assistant at a publishing company, where I worked for about 5 months. So a lot of times I would work normal business hours at the publishing company, and then at 5 or 5:30 p.m. head over to the retail store for closing shift. During one stretch of time, I think I worked a total of 20 days in a row between both jobs, and I promised myself I never wanted to do that again. I was exhausted. Again, healthy? Probably not, but I was focused. Number 2. Make friends with people. Here are some of the more healthy things I did. As a musician, I served on the worship team at the church I attended, and that opened up opportunities for meeting people. One of the most valuable lessons I've learned in life is the importance of networking with other people who are interested in my good. Now, I know some people have had really bad experiences with churches, and I don't endorse abiding in an abusive situation with a church. That being said, if you can find a decent church to attend, that can help open the door to a lot of resources. I got connected with a Bible study group, and sometimes we would trade rides to the airport or help with babysitting. One person bought me a tank of gas because my bank account was overdrawn and I couldn't afford it. Another advantage I had was that I decided to continue living in the same town that I had graduated college from, so I was able to stay connected to people I had met in college who had also stayed in town. When I finally did move to a new apartment in 2017, I had people who let me spend the night at their houses while I was in the process of moving and needed a place to sleep. The final push for becoming debt-free was when I got my first real office job in October of 2017. Since I had been used to living off pretty much part-time income for the last couple years, now all of a sudden my income doubled because I was working 40 hours a week consistently, and I was able to put that extra income toward debt. So then it took me just under a year after that to finish paying off my loans. I will say it took a lot of grit and focus to reach this next step. I had been applying to jobs for at least 9 months before finally landing my full-time job, so it was really hard. Number 3, use a budgeting app. Dave Ramsey has the Every Dollar app, and then there's also Mint, which is good too. Anything that helps make budgeting simpler and easier to keep track of. If I had to type everything manually out on a spreadsheet every month, I probably wouldn't do it. But with software that has built-in categories and the ability to see trends, that actually helps motivate me to budget more. The most important thing with budgeting is the principle that you need to spend less than you make, or make more than you spend depending on your perspective. Having good budgeting software streamlines the process of keeping track where your money is going, so that way it's easier to make adjustments to accomplish your goals. That's really all I have to say about that. So that's just a brief look at my debt-free journey. There were some healthy practices and unhealthy practices, and a lot of lessons I learned in the process. One of the challenges I face now is probably what could be called Parkinson's law for spending. Parkinson's law is the idea that work expands to fill the time allotted to it. So with budgeting, I've found that expenses expand to fill the income allotted. childhood. So now that I make more money with a full-time job, I'm finding I'm spending more, and that rather annoys me. However, I could also argue that my standard of living has improved because I'm no longer living with cockroaches. So to me, that's worth the extra money. Anyway, I hope you found this valuable or at least interesting. If you have any questions or constructive thoughts, please feel free to share in the comments below. Thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you next time. Bye.